Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. Don't worry, it's not Groundhog Day. You don't need to adjust your set. Yes, it's another mouse replay. And that is because what I thought would be impossible has actually happened. And that is that literally the same day that I released my last video on the mouse with world record damage done. Well, to say that Zemunzakoneee has also achieved something pretty darn incredible in the game, you're just going to have to sit back and wait and see. It's pretty much the impossible has happened. You know, we had an all-time damage record in the mouse last week, and then literally the same day that I released my video, I guess zemunzakoneee was just said, hold my beer, QuickyBabs, because I'm going to take it up to arguably the next level. This is just one of those kind of awesome platoon moments, you know. You actually sign up with 3 tier 10 heavy tanks and you are the only tier 10 heavy tanks matched up against a platoon of E100s. So right now we're going to find out what is the best tier 10 German heavy tank, right? Well, it's obviously not these two because it is the Panzer 7. The Panzer 7's an absolute monster, and that's if you don't have the Clan Wars reward tank, the VKK, because the VKK is just the daddy, really, the absolute daddy at tier 10. But only if you're spamming gold. If you're not using that 350 heat pen in the VKK, or what are you doing, right? So one of the really awesome things about zemunzakoneee in this replay is that you're going to see that unlike last week where there was, should we say, a lot of gold ammo fired, and I'm the kind of person who spams gold in the mouse as well. It's because I don't want to take intuition on the vehicle. I do feel that it's quite a low-value intuition tank, and really, you should just be firing the APCR because it's pretty much better in every single way than you would have on the AP ammunition. And I don't feel like the mouse ever really gets into situations where it's trying to nuke those real glass cannon tanks. I'm fine to give up on the old HE rounds there. So, the mouse in this kind of a scenario is not only going to have a gigantic game, but a lot of you out there might be appreciating the fact that zemunzakoneee is going to be using standard ammunition and also going to be using standard equipment. So what you're going to see here, it's not because of the Bond rammer, it's not because of the Bond this, the Bond that. This is a completely repeatable thing for everyone to be able to do, irrelevant of how many credits they want to spend in World of Tanks and irrelevant of the kind of equipment they want to use in World of Tanks. So the Tiger II there is in a very awkward situation of where it's trying to find room on the dance floor with also literally the biggest tank in the game, this 190-ton chonker of a German vehicle. And the battle has already begun with E100 versus mouse. And just like the awesome Type 5 Heavy replay we saw a while ago, the mouse looking to penetrate those standard rounds on the top of that E100 bar. And you know what? Even I have to say that it's probably not the optimal play. The optimal play in that sad situation is to spam gold and to just fire at the turret front of the E100 there. However, what I will say is that while it's not optimal, it's honorable. It's honorable to load those standard rounds and to kind of go for those weak points on top of the 100's bar. It's a lower chance play. You'd have more chance of trying to roll that kind of like 50-50 or maybe the 60% chance that you have when the 100 points its turret directly at you to pen it with premium rounds. But you know what? You take that kind of like more 1 in 5 chance of always going in against the top of the 100 bar. But you know what? It's sad in a way that I kind of think like that. You know, you're trying to optimize your gameplay and not so much optimize your gameplay around credit income now. At least for me on my main account, because I don't have anything left to really spend credits on outside of I guess gaining advantages with using directives or using premium consumables or just firing more gold rounds, or alternatively, I guess, mulching them down and turning them into crew books to be able to accelerate my crews. But you know, with like, I don't know, say like 110, 120,000 games or whatever I've played on my main account now, it's starting to get to the stage with all of the bells and whistles that Wargaming have, where I have a lot of the good crews that I really want. Whereas back in the day, I used to spend time trying to actually crew train as like a little hobby inside World of Tanks. Whether that was me trying to find something to actually do inside the game, or whether it was rewarding because it did, you just felt that progression of your crew, but the speed of the progression was still slow enough outside of those events, where Wargaming's events now make it feel like the crew training just disappears, at least for me, compared to what it used to be. So just some beautiful work here between two German versions of the Maus. The Maus and the Mäuschen there, getting some wonderful shots on the side of the E100. So we have zemunzakoneee asks for help from the Mäuschen, pushes forwards with a big old derpy tomato on the tank. That's what you want to see when a Maus is pushing towards you. It's just you don't want you want the Maus to actually be a derpy tomato, and you don't want it to be a hardcore gamer like zemunzakoneee is here. That was a beautiful ram there for 321 damage against the Object 268 version 5, which actually allowed them to be able to finish them off with just a single shot. And those are the kind of plays that you have to make to keep yourself in the game, and also to maybe save yourself that 750 hit points if the 268 version 4 had managed to reload. So I don't think I'm mistaken here in thinking that zemunzakoneee has fired only regular rounds, even though they've been fighting E100s right now, and yet they're up to 4,200 and absolutely bullying this E100, maybe hopefully saving the FP405 from a little bit of damage. The FP405 actually only does 200 with an HE shell there, and zemunzakoneee is actually looking for the overmatch there on the E100. A beautiful thing. That thing has about 40 millimeters of upper hull armor, and so the 128 millimeter that you'll have on the Maus will be able to overmatch at any angle of that E100 there. But that regular round bouncing off the lower plate of the E100 there, ugly. But now zemunzakoneee unfortunately wasn't able to help Big Trouble, who did find themselves in a lot of trouble in the town. But now they're going to be working with Droback to be able to finish off that E100, and then just the dream situation. You've had an incredible game. You've got most of your hit points left. You finished off the enemy tier 10 platoon in an honorable duel where you're only firing regular rounds, whereas we can see with the hit log at the top, those E100s weren't exactly playing in the same way. And now you find yourself outnumbered 2-1 and down 4,000 hit points. This is just World of Tanks magic right now. And again, just like we saw last week, you're going to see the Maus become the wall. It is one of these tanks with that 200 millimeters of frontal armor, 185 millimeters of side armor, that if you just angle it at 45 degrees, but people aren't going to do diddly squat against it. That is the strength of the Maus. And especially when we see the enemy team, apart from that pesky TS60 on the enemy team, firing regular rounds at the Maus. So that TS60 would be right at the top of my board of focus targets right now. Get that TS60 out the game, stop the tank that's got the great penetration, those 300 millimeters, or is it even 320 millimeters of heat pen against you, and then start to whittle your way through all of the tanks that are just failing to be able to pen these two German behemoths. Did you know that there are actually only two Maus created? One of them with the finished turret and one of them without the finished turret. I was lucky enough to see the Maus in the Kubinka Tank Museum back in 2016. Gosh, feels like a lifetime ago now. And with the Maus, they used one as target practice. Basically, I believe, destroyed the hull, but they had the turret from the other one. And so they mated the finished turret, the final version of the Maus's turret, with the hull of the one that wasn't used for target practice. And that's the one that's now in the Kubinka Tank Museum, which I guess I'm very privileged to have been able to go there in 2016, because would I be going there now? That's a different story altogether. So, the two Maus just creating that wall, destroying everything that's coming at them right now. 10,000 damage in the first 10 minutes of this game, but still with a lot to do. And unfortunately, while zemunzakoneee has managed to look after most of their hit points, Droback on their team and the Maus behind them has not. The turtle finally manages to penetrate the lower plate of the Maus, and we question can even a god bleed in this scenario? And clearly it can here, with the turtle penetrating a shell against the Maus. But man, there is almost no better feeling when the Maus actually works inside World of Tanks, and this is just an absolute thing of beauty. Unfortunately, a pesky EBR-90 finishes off Kartoffel salad there, yeah, potato salad, great, in the FE4005, which now means that, oh no, with what looked like a penetrating AP shell on the other mouse, it's the last mouse standing, boys and girls. And now zemunzakoneee finds themselves in a 1 versus 3 scenario, up to 12,000 damage. I mean, are you kidding? The impossible is happening right now. Can you believe on the same day when Uncle QuickyBaby released a video about a new all-time damage record for the mouse that were actually immediately in contention for it just a week later, at least for my release, but this video, this replay happened the same day after I released my video. Outrageous. So now this 257's probably thinking, oh bro, maybe we can call it a draw. Or maybe what the 257 is thinking, oh, a little bit of a misplay there, missing the front plate of the 257. Will zemunzakoneee regret that? So I think what the 257 is going to do now is they're going to just avoid the mouse, a very slow vehicle, and hope that their artillery is going to punish the mouse. And this is great play by the 257, you know? That artillery has 4 minutes to work, whittle down the mouse's hit points right now, although the artillery whiffing, that's got to be a very demoralizing feeling for the 257. And it even looks like that 257 is using a stock turret, so that's pretty ugly as well. So now, how does zemunzakoneee manage to get through the situation? Okay, so here's a pro tip. In this game of Kissy Chase, I'll tell you how to win it with the 257. What you need to do is you need to be watching which way the mouse is facing. And whenever the mouse turns to be able to drive straight around a corner, you see that this is actually quite an intelligent 257. Because he's turning his tank. Wow, zemunzakoneee bounces an AP shell. And when he sees which way the mouse is facing, he turns to face the mouse in the same direction. But zemunzakoneee is also a great player. So what he's doing is baiting the 257 into facing away the same way that he's coming. And then he wants to drive it the same way that the 257's front of the tank is facing, which means that they won't be able to escape them. So zemunzakoneee realizes this 257 is a good player. So now what he's doing is going outside of the proxy spotting distance, bounces another AP shell there from the FE3805, and waits till they're no longer proxy spotted to be able to then approach this 257 from an angle that they don't expect. But there you go, outplayed. And you know what? Round of applause to both players there. The 257 did a great job of turning his vehicle to be able to make sure they could run away from the mouse, and zemunzakoneee clearly showing that they're just an excellent player. They saw that. They saw that there was no hope in being able to catch the 257 when they were making those intelligent plays, and so mixed it up. Got outside that proxy spotting distance, and then they were able to get the jump on the 257. So zemunzakoneee, 13,000 damage. Last week, boys and girls, it was 13,450 for an all-time mouse damage record. And so that means that if zemunzakoneee finds the FV3805, that this, unfortunately, the world record last week will have only lasted for a matter of days. Can you believe it? My heart goes out to the previous record holder if zemunzakoneee manages to find this shot. And unfortunately, zemunzakoneee is using that regular turbo on this tank, and the regular turbo on this tank doesn't quite have the grunt of that Bond turbo. And it looks like they might also... Now, they are using engineer, as we can see the mouse going up to 28 there. But, you know, without that Bond turbo, which really does add some grunt to the engine, they're struggling to be able to get up to close to the top speed limit when they're driving along this poor terrain resistance here. Okay, so FV3805. zemunzakoneee bounced a bunch of shells. We have the Emil cheering on zemunzakoneee right now, and I am too, because zemunzakoneee fired mostly regular rounds in this game. The last 9 rounds, I believe, have been APCR when they realized that there was some serious opportunity to have an all-time record here. And we even have the CDA cheering them on as well in chat. Go mouse, everyone is. zemunzakoneee says too slow. Big Trouble says 13,000 damage, as if he's just like cheering on for his platoon mate in the side. And we're just hoping beyond all hope that the FV3805 is going to be in the dip. No, not like this, guys. Not like this. What can zemunzakoneee do in the slowest tank at The gods have opened. Surely it's a free shot. No misses. Yes, dude. So justified. So justified for just It's got to be the greatest mouse game I've ever seen. Zemunzakoneee salutes. Oh, it's just a beautiful thing to see, boys and girls. An absolute beautiful thing to see. I mean, Zemunzakoneee, I truly hope that the way that you have dressed your mouse up is ironic. The big green Hulk with a big, derpy tomato on the front. I have to admit, if I was the enemy team and I saw this drive towards me, I'd be going, oh yeah, we've got a very interesting mouse here that I get to farm. Zemunzakoneee only farmed them. What a beautiful thing to see. An absolute powerhouse of a game. Zemunzakoneee, congratulations to you on arguably the greatest mouse game of all time. And was it achieved with fancy equipment like I spam on my mouse? Was it achieved with loading only gold and smashing through all of those shells? No, this was the perfect game of World of Tanks. It was the impossible. So Zemunzakoneee blasts the high caliber medal of high caliber medals for 3,616 damage dealt, and I think they were only able to achieve that because their platoon mates looked like they were struggling in that game. And the beautiful thing, as I said about this, was 74,000 credits spent on ammunition, but 193,000 credits profit. And even if we were to take away the personal reserves bonus, this would have been 100,000 credits profit in one of the greatest games of all time. In addition to this, a cool-headed medal for ricocheting 10 shells in a row, usually something that's only possible if there's an autoloader, a very low-tier autoloader on the enemy team, a top gun for those 7 kills, a tank sniper for dealing a lot of damage at long range during that prolonged engagement where the mouse just left the town victorious but had a whole mountain to be able to climb up, and as you would expect, a steel wall for blocking over 10,000 damage. So, Zemunzakoneee, congratulations to you on now the highest damage game of all time in the mouse, and I'd say one of the greatest games of World of Tanks that I've ever seen, period, let alone only looking at the mouse. And thank you so much to you for sharing this incredible game on the What Record website. I had to put on my glasses today to make sure that I really wasn't making a mistake, that we had a new mouse game so soon after last week's incredible replay. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, really hope you enjoyed this round today. And sorry if any of you get bored seeing the same mouse again just a week later. But I, for one, never get bored of a mouse gameplay. Anyway, really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, give a thumbs up. If you hated it, give a thumbs down. And if you're watching this video as it goes live on Friday, I'm going live all day on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby, where I'm going to get to give vents to the entire server. So come along, watch for 60 minutes, get yourself a piece of equipment which is worth 300,000 credits if you sell it, or 600,000 credits if you buy it at full price, some personal reserves, and also a Jurassic period 2D style. So really looking forward to seeing you all live right now. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.